Alright, well this is my Honda Shadow 1100 Spirit shaft drive, and I scoured the internet for a couple of hours a day for about 4 days trying to figure out how to take the swing arm off with the drive shaft. I ordered a service manual a couple weeks ago, still haven't gotten it in. They said it's going to be about another week. I can't wait any longer. This is what I'm working on, the swing arm bearings. I found a lot of these videos, but they're not for shaft drives. They're for the 750s chain drive. So for the shaft drive, it's kind of a lot to take apart. I've already got my fender off because I'm painting it. So I figured I'd go ahead and take this off. But the first thing I did to get the swing arm off is remove your rear brake lever. I just took a permanent marker and marked it on the spline, the position that it was in, so I can put it back exactly where it was. Next, I took off, let me figure out what side it's on, this bolt. There's a lot of tools that you can order. There's a lot of people saying that you can make your own tool. Well, I just took a punch and a hammer the old mechanics way. Put the punch right there at an angle, give it a good whack with the hammer, and it'll loosen up. Make sure you have a long enough or big enough Allen wrench to get in there. Take that out. Here's the other one. If I can get this bearing off. Anyways, here's the other one. It's a lot shorter. This is going to go on the left side, or for car and truck people, it's passenger side, but it's going to go on the left side of the bike for the shorter one here. And this is what I'm replacing. Just bad, dirty, nasty seals. I'm not sure if this is the one. This one's barely free. The other one that I just got out is nearly completely seized. Okay. Once you got those out, the swing arm will move side to side fairly free. It feels like it's about to just slide out, but there's just something holding it up. Well, there's that knuckle. With this back on the bike, that knuckle is sitting right here, just in front of the big bolt that you took out. And for some reason, I just could not get that thing free. I could not get it to slide off the spline. So I ended up having to find another way around to get this thing off, since I couldn't get that to just slide apart. So I ended up taking the whole gear cover off, which kind of a pain in the butt, not terribly hard. 2 bolts holding this bracket on for your clutch cable. The 2 bolts were here and here. It's just these 2 small bolts right there. Might as well stick these back in here so I don't lose them. Next, I had to pull off 5 bolts that are mounting this. So you got 3 long bolts. You got 1, 2, 3. 2 short bolts. I kind of laid them out in somewhat of a pattern so I know which holes they came out of. I don't think it's too big of a deal, but just to be sure. Looks like there's 3 different sizes. But to get, I think it was this bolt out, I had to pull the coolant tube, which is fun. Goes in right here. Can't really get a good camera angle on it. But this tube goes into a hole back behind this. Kind of had to take my mini pry bar and just kind of work it out and play with it until it finally came out. Put a little drip pan underneath because you're going to spill quite a bit of coolant. Not a whole lot of coolant, but enough that it'll definitely make a mess on your garage floor. I know a lot of y'all are probably going to make fun of me for my 4x4 block bike stand. I ordered a bike stand online. At the same time I ordered a service manual. Still hadn't come in. It's been a couple weeks. Went by Harbor Freight, picked one up, and it's, well, there is a weight rating to those, so pay attention to that, because that thing's a cheap metal. But once I took these out, all these bolts out, and got this thing slid off, well, the whole thing just kind of fell apart and slid right out. That knuckle just dropped off. The whole swing arm just kind of dropped down right where it was. I don't know what was binding that knuckle up, but something was binding that knuckle up to where it would not slide out for me. But again, I don't have a service manual. I've worked on a lot of motorcycles. I've done a lot of stuff with motorcycles, mechanically speaking. But I've never worked on a swing arm with a drive shaft. So this is all new to me. That's why I ordered the service manual. I don't know how much longer it's going to be, and I'm not going to wait any longer, so I just decided to try to figure it out. But I've already got my new dust cover in. I'm going to call it a night and get back to this in the morning, put the new bearings in, and get it all back together. But I could not find a video online on how to take these swing arms out with the drive shaft on the Honda Shadows. There's a ton of them for street bikes. There's a couple of them for four-wheelers, but not for the Honda Shadows. So I figured, while I'm at it, I might as well make one. Real quick, to get the old bearings out, since I've already done it, you can have this bearing race sitting in here. It's got a little bit of a pitch to it. This dust cover is going to be on there first, and then this is going to slide in, then your bearing is going to go in on top of that, and then this is the new one, the dust seal cover. So, best way to get that off is I just took a chisel that's laying right there, and I went inside right here and knocked out the dust cover. Once you get the dust cover knocked out, it's going to be all bent up a little bit. I took those channel locks, pulled the dust cover off, took that long extension there, ran it through to the other end, put it on that dust cover, knocked it out, and then I just put it on the inside edge of this race here. That's going to be the outside, that's going to be the inside, and I just put that extension right here on this lip and gave it a couple love taps with the hammer until it fell out, and then I flipped it over and did the same thing with this side to get the race out for this side, and it just pops right out. Now, I've never done a swing arm bushings, but I'm sure it's the same as any other kind of bushings. When you put your new race in, you don't want to hit the new race directly with a hammer or anything hard. But at the same time, a block of wood is probably not going to cut it. It's probably not going to do the trick. So what I normally do is I'll take a rubber mallet. I've got a soft snap-on hammer. And I'll lay it in here, give it a couple love taps all the way around just to get it started. And then I'll take the old race and set it on top. Take a regular hammer and tap on this race, since this race is trash anyways. Tap on this race to get the new one in, and once that gets in and gets seated, you don't really have to worry about distance wise how deep it needs to go, because once you get all this back on and you got your bearings in and you got to put your bolts back in, that's going to help you seat your bearings down to exactly where they need to go. You get it tightened all the way down as far as it'll go, and that'll seat your bearing for you. So you don't necessarily have to worry about how deep does my bearing race need to go inside here. But again, I hope this helps people out there, because I don't have a manual. I ordered one, haven't gotten it in yet. searched online. I found a bunch of forums for it, but not for the 1100. It's again, everything is for the 750 and the 600s, the 750 Ace, and the Honda Shadow 600s, and those are chain driven. I could not find anything for the Honda Shadow 1100 with the shaft drive. So again, I hope this helps somebody out there. I guess I didn't necessarily have to take that off, but I've been fighting, trying to get the swing arm and trying to get that knuckle right there to free up, to slide off. The last thing I could think of is maybe, like on a truck, maybe there's a notch here and there's a bolt going through it to tighten it to the shaft, to tighten it to the spline. Like steering knuckles on pickup trucks. That's the only other thing that I could think of, is that maybe there was a bolt running through to tighten this. However, there is not. As you can see, there's no bolt. It just slides into that spline. Your drive shaft splines into this other spline, and it should have just slid right out. It's probably just dirty and has a lot of grime and buildup in it. That's more than likely what it is. And when I put this all together, I'm going to have all new grease over everything, so that'll help out tremendously. But for me to get this apart, I had to take that off. As soon as I took that off and broke the seal and got it free from the block, everything just came apart nice and easy, and within 3 or 4 minutes, with a chisel, a long extension, and a hammer, I had my old bearing races out, my old dust covers out. Tomorrow should be pretty simple and safe, straightforward to get all this put back together. But that's pretty much it. If anybody else has any questions, leave me a message. Maybe I'll come across an answer for you while I'm doing this and getting it all put back together. But again, I hope this helps somebody out there that is maybe less mechanically inclined than I am, and they're looking for answers but can't find them. So, good luck.